in 1970, you and I came to EKU the same year. That's the year I came as a lowly assistant professor. But you were hired as EKU Sports Information Director, and your first boss is here sitting next to me.
That's correct.
And I'm going to let him to pick up the interview and ask a few questions.
Well, you know, it strikes me that Karl's retired and I'm still working. So that's
same with me.
Yeah. So can you pick out of all the games that you saw?
My favorite?
The ones that sticks in your memory the most?
Well, actually, the one that sticks in my memory, I was sports editor of the Progress, is the Western game. I think Coach Kidd, this is one of his memories. Yeah. Down at, we were dedicating L.T. Smith Stadium down in Bowling Green, and they seated, I think.
What year would this be?
This would have been 68. 19, they were dedicating their stadium. Actually, their stadium was about a year ahead of ours. We played 4 games in 1969 in Roy Kidd Stadium. Then we had a first full season in 1970. But we were down there. They were undefeated and I think even unscored upon, and in the top 5 in the nation. And we had lost one game. I can't remember who, but we had an excellent team. Jim Geist was our quarterback, and he took we thought it might have been a late hit, but he was kind of addled, and he comes off the field, and our training staff starts walking him around the sideline and heads toward our locker room. Of course, all the eyes of all of our fans, which is a packed stadium. We actually had a couple of hundred students, 100 outside the stadium on one end, and another 100 over on the other end zone, watching the game because it was totally sold out. But Jim made it over there to that corner, and then all of a sudden you could tell he was talking with the trainer. Then he starts walking back, and our fans are reacting to that instead of the game because they know that he's our chance. And sure enough, coach lets him back in just before halftime, and he throws a touchdown pass and ties it back up at 7-7. And the last half was all Eastern. We beat them 16-7 in the dedication game. That's probably my all-time favorite. It's hard to not say one of the national championship victories or the 13-0 season. But as far as
playing Western is like playing the national champion.
That Eastern-Western in basketball or football.
What about the Eastern-Western basketball game, I think in 71?
Well, that's 79, really. The 3.5-second game?
No, I'm thinking about the, what was Western's All-American center?
Jim McDaniels.
Yes.
He's talking about the game that
Guy Strong got kicked. Coached from back in the back.
Guy Strong got kicked out of and then coached from that from that doorway.
Janitor's closet down there. Yeah, that was. Anytime we played Western, it was truly. You actually just couldn't wait to play them, either football or basketball, because they had an excellent athletic past. And in football, Jimmy Fikes played quarterback at Western, and Roy Kidd played quarterback here. So there's a lot of tradition, even that emanated from the coaching staffs into the game, and then the fans, and it was such a huge game in both football and basketball.
I think Johnny Oldham and Jim Bechtold had played against each other.
That's right. Yeah. So it was quite a battle, and those are my all-time games when you play Western in anything.
Yeah. What about your favorite player to watch in any sport? Do you have one or two?
Well, Jim Geist would have to be. His presence on the field, I'm sure Doug has seen probably most all of his games, but he walked on the field. He was in charge. He was in charge. That's right.
That's right.
And quarterbacks, you see it in the pro. Tom Brady's like that. Peyton Manning. They just have an air about them that they bring something special to the game, and the team feeds off that. And that game I mentioned at Western, that dedication game, was probably the epitome of that. But Jim had so much talent. He could throw the short pass or the long pass, and he just was one of my all-time favorites. And in basketball, of course, I saw Bobby Washington and Garfield play, and I didn't get to see Jim Bechtold or Jack Adams. That was just a little bit before my time. But one of the most talented players we ever had, we only had him 2 years, was Turk Tillman. He transferred from the University of Maryland, And I remember we had an exhibition game. I don't know if Doug remembers this, but it was just a maroon-white game. And he came out on the floor, and we had heard about him, and he went 14 for 14 that night. And we all said, wow. And that year, I think he's second or third in the nation in scoring, 28 points a game. And the next year, he's third or fourth. And he was a special player. He was really good.
Now, what era was that?
That was the 78-79 team. He was part of that team, and then he played the next year, 79-80.
Yeah, I always thought Antonio Paris was one of the most physically gifted.
Yeah. He was a guard, about a 6'4" guard from Chattanooga area, and Tony was. We've had some football players and basketball players. He just, if he had the fortitude, not the fortitude, but the get up and go, he would have been a pro player. But he did everything so effortlessly. He could jump really good, excellent shot, but his motivation button needed to be turned on every now and then.
Basketball wasn't his life.
That's right.
As it is with a lot of others. What's your favorite sport, Karl?
My favorite sport is baseball.
I knew that was going to be that.
In fact, Dave Vance, I took his place in 1970. He always, that's what he called me, is baseball. He didn't call me Karl, or I've had a nickname of Willie, but he would call me baseball, because I just lived and ate baseball statistics, and I played the game and followed the major league scene, and it's always been my favorite sport.
Of course, covering Eastern athletics put you in some pretty nice venues over the years, and brought you in contact with some of the great characters of sport. Oh
yeah, we had. I remember going to Milwaukee for a Christmas basketball tournament, and that venue certainly had a lot of, with Al McGuire coaching there, and we went to Oklahoma City, and Abe Lemons, I'm sure you know, he was one of the true characters of college basketball. He always had a good one-liner for you. In fact, that is the last, I'm sorry to say, the last in-season tournament that Eastern has won was 1972. We won the all-college tournament. We beat Texas Tech, Santa Clara, and Oklahoma City. That was the year we also won the OVC. We had a really good team, but I remember Abe Lemons at the pre-tournament banquet was just had everybody in stitches. He was so funny. But that's right. We've played at the Tangerine Bowl, or the Citrus Bowl, I guess is what it is now, and some really big venues across the nation.